Hi everyone, I'm Bree the Plant Lady. Today I want to show you a quick Foodscape tour in the middle of December to give you an update on all of the things that I have been direct seeding. I'm thrilled to share that there's seeds germinating everywhere. So today I'm going to give you a guide to help you understand and identify the good plants versus the potential weed seeds that are germinating at this season. The wave bed is just starting to germinate. You can see the barley, looks like these little spikes of grass. And if you remember, in this bed, I also seeded larkspur and double poppies from Baker Creek heirloom seed. I haven't seen any of those germinating yet, but I'm very encouraged by all of the barley that is germinating here. You can see the kitty cats have been doing some digging because there are voles in this bed. But overall, I think this is going to look awesome. I still have this other part of the wave to plant. I'm going to dig out these ornamental grasses and move those to our neighborhood entry. And I'm going to transplant these hedychiums over to under the live oak because they prefer a little more shade. And then I'm going to get the entire bed planted with barley and larkspur and more different varieties of poppies. This foundation bed is one of the more impressive areas, and everything is germinating just as planned. You see these clumps of barley, that's going to look much more organized versus the meadow look that I have in the wave. And then there are some greens starting to germinate. That's what these seedlings are. And that they were planted all along the front border, along with garlic, which is just starting to sprout. Remember, the violas were planted to be my sign for if the bed dries out. We've been getting plenty of rain, so nothing is dry. And then into the middle of this bed where I sowed poppies and larkspur, you can see that both are germinating. Those really tiny little green specks, that is what poppies look like when they germinate. And then these broader leaf, that is the larkspur. So this bed is gonna really be impressive and I think look spectacular in the spring season. I have plenty of borders that I have not really done what I need to do in them, including this. This border has lots of weeds germinating, including lamium, which is this, and chickweed, which is that, and my all-time enemy, vetch, right here. In amongst that are some good things. So I'm going to come in here and hand weed. I wanted to show you how big the self-sown poppies are. So these germinated on their own versus those tiny little specks of green that I just showed you. Here are two that are self-sown. You see how large they are. So that's what they will look like as they grow out. The north border is kind of a mess, but it's okay. Some of the camellias are starting to really put out a lot of flowers. Here's one, this is called October Affair. It's just covered in buds that are going to be opening in the next few weeks. And last weekend we did get that cryptomeria cut down that had been struck by lightning in the summer. You see we have a mess to clean up. And this gives me an opportunity to plant some new things in this border that will be a little shorter. Now I still have pumpkins on the vine that I need to harvest. They're delicious. One of my goals for this week is to can a bunch of the Seminole pumpkins. Camellia Brie is doing great. The bees and flies and wasps, all the pollinators love it. There's a little kitten, Miss Ava Grace. So this is a border that I'd like to come in and clean up and get seeded today. This lantana has been hardy, so I'm just going to cut it back to the base and add a little soil cube, organic compost, and then direct seed poppies and larkspur and other spring blooming plants. Again, I've got weeds. You know, when people are like, how do you keep it weed free? My focus is on ground plane coverage, but because I haven't gotten this bed seeded, I've got plants like this henbit or lamium that's germinating. But at this stage, these are really easy to pull out. So I'm just gonna come through today because it's really mild and try and get some major weeding done. One of the borders that I'm so pleased with for its self-sowing capacity is this one here, just filled with Daikon radish and arugula. And then you see I did toss some poppy seeds in, and that's what's germinating there. But you can also see problem plants, again, like that henbit that's coming in. So I'll need to come through and do, again, some hand weeding here. And you know, weeding is often the thing that people are most intimidated by. And I'm not gonna lie, it takes some skill and, you know, some knowledge and experience to be able to identify the good from the bad. But use it as a learning experience. And, you know, you pull up something that's wrong, it's not the end of the world, but you can learn from it. Now, a lesson for me, this was the first root pouch, 100-gallon root pouch that I set up, and I didn't put the chicken wire frame inside of it, and you see how it's like fallen and looking funny. So another goal for the coming weeks is to dig this out. I'm going to transplant the peach that's in here, and I'm going to put a proper frame inside of it and refill it with compost so I can get this planted for the winter. You can see how great these root pouches look, and they're nice and upright and sturdy, and that's because they have this metal frame. That's just the cattle fencing that I cut to size and wrapped around inside of it. And that's really, I think, the solution for these really large fabric grow bags to keep them sturdy. And it's a really easy solution. I love these so much. They're so easy to grow in. And I even love them more because they're made from recycled water bottles. So it's just such a great way to reuse a product that's causing a lot of environmental damage. Here is a nice pot of lettuce and different greens that I sowed a few weeks ago. And I'm just gonna let these grow out, and we'll start harvesting salads when they get a little bigger. I have a number of plants in my greenhouse that are ready to be planted. So that's a goal between now and the new year, to get all these plants put into the ground somewhere. Find homes for everything. So the feed tank bed was the first bed that I replanted with cool season plants, and I think it looks great. You can really see that garlic edge, and then, you know, mixed in are the yellow violas and the curly parsley, and then that Ms. America mustard border that goes all the way around the pool. And these other borders are doing great. This one, which I showed replanting in a video recently, and again, you can see a really dense sowing of poppies that are all germinating now. And these more strappy-like leaves, that's actually bachelor buttons germinating. So you see there's a big difference between the poppies, which are here, and the bachelor button or the centuria. So this bed is showcasing one of the issues when you have a really big seed bank in your landscape, which I do, is I've been direct seeding for years. And I was trying to make this like a little keyhole so I'd have somewhere to walk. And I basically uncovered a bajillion larkspur seeds, which are all germinating now. So I'm going to basically hoe these out of the pathway. That way I can still walk up and access this feed tank, which is planted really densely with barley. And I also sowed some sweet peas, and that is what's here. That's what's germinating here, and those will ultimately grow and then vine on this cattle fence panel that's there in place. Cleaning up this border is my priority for today. It's driving me crazy. I see it from my kitchen window and it makes me feel like a lazy gardener. So I am gonna get busy with this, but again, to show you some more seeds, these are self-sown larkspur. So they have, you know, this is their cotyledon stage when it's just 2 leaves, and then their first real leaves or true leaves will develop and they're kind of that scalloped edge. So that's an easy way to identify, and then as they grow out, they get more of this lacy leaf effect. So that's larkspur. And then my biggest weed infestation is here along this property border on the outside of our fence. And this just looks terrible, and I have to get this clean. This is my #1 thing that I'm gonna do as soon as I finish this tour. I'm gonna get out here, I'm gonna cut down all of this summer stuff. Usually I mow all this, but I think it's really important that I get this weed issue under control. Like, everything that's green here is actually a problem plant. So I have got to get busy cleaning this border up so that I can then get it planted with things that I want to grow. And that's the thing, that's what gardening is about. Like, you develop good soil, something's gonna grow there. It just may not be something that's desirable. And I always love to show these ginormous Daikon radish. So let's just go ahead and pull this one out. Oh, holy smokes, you guys. Yep. You talk about a plant that can fix some soil. If you have hard packed clay, go ahead and buy a few dollars worth of Daikon radish seed. That is a natural rototiller if I've ever seen one. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this garden tour gives you some inspiration and shows you that, you know, gardening doesn't always look pretty, but it's always a fun experience, and it's a joy to be outside and go out and sow some seeds. You just never know what will grow from that. Have a great day, everybody.